So this is the second part of the videos reviewing the August Smart Lock for Airbnb hosts. And in this video, we're going to go over all of the cons that we have associated with using the Smart Lock. So let's start with the cons. The first one we have on our list is that travelers are going to need a smartphone. So whether it's an iPhone, an Android, they're going to have to be able to use that phone in the country they're traveling in. Another thing going off of needing a smartphone, you need to have a compatible phone. So for Airbnb travelers who are using a Windows phone, these will not work. So just keep that in mind when you do book a traveler that they can actually use your smart lock. Next up, guests will need to download the app before arriving for their trip. One of the nice things is that August and Airbnb have partnered, so when your guest does accept their booking, they should get a detailed email with instructions on how to sync and match their account, their Airbnb account, with their August access. However, some guests do have a hard time with this. People who are not as technologically savvy as others can really get mixed up on this step and have a hard time with it. Another thing that we've come across is some travelers from China who have Chinese specific phones don't have access to the App Store, so they can also be limited on what they're able to download and use. So say that your guest sets up their account properly, gets to your house, but comes to trying to unlock their door, they might not be able or know how to use the app correctly. Maybe they don't know what a green indicator circle means, that your door is unlocked, or to tap it, it'll lock the door. So there can be user confusion. This is a new type of technology. A lot of people haven't used it before, and so because of that, there can be user issues. So as a host, one of the things that you're going to have to do is manage who has set up the smart lock successfully. So even though the guest got an automatic email telling them to download the app and then the instructions, they might not actually follow through on this. So it could get to the day of their reservation and they don't have it set up. That's on the host. You have to be on top of who has the lock set up and who hasn't. And if they don't, reach out and make sure your guest has it set up before arriving so that they're not locked out. So one of the things that we talked about as a pro for the August Smart Lock was the auto lock function. On the flip side of that, one of the things that can happen is if the door is not closed all the way and the auto lock function kicks in, the door can jam. So maybe the deadbolt doesn't match up with the area it needs to slide into. Because of that, the door will jam. It'll try and repeatedly try and lock itself, and then after that, it'll just get all stiff to move and hard to lock and unlock. Another issue that can cause door jamming is if the guest does not close the door all the way, they then try and leave and lock the door. This can also cause your door to jam. One of our biggest frustrations with the August Smart Lock is that it's finicky in cold weather. So what I mean by that is if you are in a climate that reaches around 10 degrees Celsius, the lock is going to become sticky and it can have jamming problems. Or if you're using Fahrenheit, if you're around 40 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to have a hard time with it auto locking, and then also guests trying to lock it and unlock it from outside. So this is one of our biggest frustrations in the winter because the door can lock or the lock can jam. Other things that your guests need to be cognizant of is that because of the auto lock function, if they leave the house without their phone and the door locks, they're going to be locked out. So make sure that you let them know about this auto lock function or feature so that they're always going to have their phone on them. So like I said, another con is that your guest is always going to have to carry their phone on them. And also, if the battery dies, they can get locked out. So again, guests are going to need to have a working phone on them. And finally, the August Smart Lock is not compatible with all doors. It's standard with most deadbolts. When it comes in the box, it's going to have 3 attachments. So it works with the majority of the house locks, but just double check that your door is compatible before buying this product. So this is the end of the two-part review for the August Smart Lock for Airbnb hosts. Overall, I would say that this product has more pros than it does cons. If it's something that you would be interested in using in your listing, go ahead and click on the description below, and there's a link there that should give you a bit of a discount on the product. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. All right, thanks.